master plan. Trying to give you 100 bands and put your mama in that band. You already know, man. It's your boy Lee. We back at it. Go Talk TV, man. And you know, we doing things, man. You know, every time you see me, I'm in a different place with a different person, and this got it's a different, beautiful background. It's crazy, man. Yeah, man. Go Talk doing things. But enough about me and Go Talk TV. We got a special guest in here. You already know him. You feel me? I ain't got to introduce him because you know him. You probably done worked for the man. You know him. You feel me? We got Victor Wicker. Right. I ain't want.
Yeah, Victor Wicker. What's up?
I ain't want to say his name in here. I know it's easy, but I had to act. Well, yeah, it's Victor Wicker. Sweet Victory, CEO, captain, boss. You know, he doing things in Newberry. So, Go Talk TV had to stop by and come chop it up, man. Welcome to the show.
What's up? Hey, I appreciate you having me, man. I appreciate you having me. You know, feels good. Feels good to be here.
Okay.
Yep. Victor Wicker, Baker Boy. You know, got a couple different aliases out there, but yeah.
I'm about to say, so like, since of course it's your first time on the show, of course. So let the people know who is Victor Wicker, who is Vic, what is Sweet Victory.
Yeah. So Vic, most people know me as Vic. My government is Victor Wicker, but most people call me Vic. Country boy, born and raised Newberry, South Carolina. You know, I'm a PK. You know, they say PK is the worst ones. I tell them, nah, we the best ones. But I'm a PK, born and raised here in Newberry, South Carolina. Very country boy, very family oriented. Sweet Victory, you know, definitely a family business. Came from a lot of support and love from the community, built right here in Newberry. So Sweet Victory is definitely South Carolina made, Southern made brand. You know, met Leak years ago, back when I was working in my McDonald's days, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, I'm just glad to be here. But
that's what's up, man. Yeah. That's what's up. Since you said that, let's get on that. Let's get on that topic. Like, how does this, like, to me, this is cool as hell. Like, bro, used to be my boss. I started working at 15. I'm talking about, I was a dog. Mama had to almost whoop me. I'm talking, I'm 13 trying to get a job. So Vic gave me like my first job. So this is cool as hell. You feel me? Like, this is his shit. And I get to interview him on my show. He get to see the motion I got. I'm looking at the motion he got. It's pretty cool.
Hey, absolutely. It's like seeing it come full circle. You know what I'm saying? Like, McDonald's wasn't the end for neither one of us. Nah. You know, even though I kind of thought it was gonna be the end for me, because I honestly had planned on becoming an owner operator. But you know, sometimes we have one plan, God have another plan. You know, but it's good to see you doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? It's good to see Black men progress, you know what I'm saying? And McDonald's was definitely a stepping stone and a building opportunity. And I think a lot of times people look at places like McDonald's, you know, starter jobs. You know, you hear a lot of people in the education industry like, oh, if you don't get an education, you're gonna end up at McDonald's, as though McDonald's was the worst place that we could have ended up at. You know, and I actually thank God for McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? 14 years I was there. 14 years, and I started out from the bottom and I worked my way all the way up to the top. I remember starting out 15, just like you started at 15. I was making $5.15 an hour, and you know, 14 years later, by the time I left, I was making $1,400 a week. I was on salary, so I was making like $74,000 a year as a DM. So I was making decent money. You know what I'm saying? And McDonald's really laid the foundation for Sweet Victory, even though that was never even my plan to be a baker, you know, and a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think I went to school for baking. A lot of people think that, you know, that was the plan, that was the exit plan for McDonald's, and that never ever was the plan, but it was definitely a God-given gift, you know what I'm saying? It was definitely a gift from God. So, like I said, worked at McDonald's all them years, and I actually built relationships with a lot of people. You know, McDonald's put me in a position to, it was more like networking, you know, and I didn't realize 14 years ago that that's what I was doing, but that's what I was doing. For 14 years, I networked to be able to build the brand that I have today.
Look at everybody, like, the people didn't know you from school with you. Ain't no way you ain't see you goddamn McDonald's. Goddamn, ain't no way you ain't had no encounter with them. Like, it's just, everybody know me.
Yeah, and like even with, like you were saying earlier about yo, you probably don't work for me. Yeah, man, do you know, like, we employed so many people. McDonald's there, they had a high turnover rate, so we hired a lot of people. So during those processes, I built a relationship with like a lot of people.
You gotta see who you were too, like,
yeah,
both sides of you.
yeah, exactly, the professional side, and and I built those relationships with my employees where, like, I wanted to be the cool boss.
Yeah,
I didn't want to be the hard one, but I wanted to give them real guidance, and I wanted to provide, by me being young, and I got into management. I graduated high school in '08, so I probably got into management like right after I graduated. So I worked there 4 years. I was there 14 years, but after 4 years, so I was in management for 10 years. Okay. Long story short, 10 years I was in management. So I was a manager. I was 19 and I was in there running shifts, getting it out. By the time I was 23, I was an assistant store manager. And then I just, like I said, just kept moving, never take no for an answer, keep going. And I would focus on things that people weren't focused on. I did the job before I got paid for, and a lot of people won't do that. They won't put themselves in that position. So they'll say, oh, that ain't my job, that ain't what I get paid to do. But I was willing to do the work without the money, and then later the money came. But learning from McDonald's, I learned the business aspect. I learned food costs, I learned labor, I learned P&Ls, I learned people skills, and that you can't deal with everybody the same because everybody's different, so I can't talk to Susie the way I talk to Kelly, and I can't talk to Rick the way I talk to Martin because everybody's different, and having to learn those different cultures and learning those different, whatever the variables were, whether they came from a poor family and they didn't have food to eat, and making sure that they were good because I didn't want them stealing products. So if there were ways that I could help, make sure that they were good. So just learning to be diverse and having that diversity and learning to be able to deal with a lot of people was something that I definitely learned from McDonald's and the training that we received. And over the years, it just helped me build relationships with a lot of different people. Just grateful for it now because my business, my customer base is very diverse. I don't have just a primarily black base like I started out with. It's very diverse. I have
seen a Hispanic posted you.
Absolutely.
Got a cake for a boss, and she like Indian, so yeah.
yeah. So like the Caucasians, the Hispanics, the blacks. I love everybody, and it just feels good that McDonald's presented that platform for me to build those relationships with people in the community.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's crazy. Like how you said God work, like how God work. Like God work in a mysterious way, man. Like I don't know if you want to be in McDonald's, but just like you said, people teach us, you don't do this, you're gonna be working at McDonald's. So here you are working at McDonald's. Whole time God give you building blocks, just like the blocks need building right here. He give you building blocks. Like you gonna need all the.
Oh yeah.
You gonna like that's tough, bro. I ain't even think about none of that. That's tough. Man.
Yeah, and for a while though, honestly, when I got aggravated with McDonald's because it kept changing owners. My goal was to be an owner operator. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a franchisee. I wanted to own one, and so it's really hard because it's very expensive to buy into a McDonald's. You got to have, I think right now about $700,000 or $800,000 in liquid assets. This is cold hard cash.
About $1 million.
Yeah, almost $1 million. Who ain't nobody got $1 million just laying around? And so the best way to get in is through owners. You build really good relationship with owners. You work really, really hard for owners, and then what they can do and what some of them have been known to do is give you high recommendations where you can get loans. They give you spin-off stores, which means if an owner has, let's say, 10, 15 stores, they'll give you one. They'll say, well, I'm going to lease you the store, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to build cash to be able to go out and purchase a store or to be able to purchase this one. So it's almost like a lease purchase agreement in a sense. But either way,
y'all boy, you better listen.
Yeah, so either way, I worked hard for these owners, building these relationships, proving myself, and then boom, the owner sells. Another owner come. Well, guess what? I got a whole new boss. They don't know me. I don't know them. So I got to build this relationship all over again and prove that I'm worthy and that I can. And I build these relationships, and boom, I run these good numbers for the store, and then boom, 3 years later, the owner sells. And it's like, well, I can't keep going through this because this keeps setting me back. I don't have 401k, so I had no type of retirement plan in place. And that was a big deal for me in trying to get owners to give me some type of plan. And either way, that didn't work out. And I got frustrated after COVID hit. We were losing employees. The government was giving out all this money. People weren't coming to work. So the ship was sinking, and I was like, you know what? Is this what I really want to do? So I had a friend that was in real estate. And so he was like, you should come do real estate. I know you'll knock it out the park. You're amazing with people. He was like, you know, I'm down here in Atlanta. I'm selling houses like crazy. I still got clients in South Carolina. He was like, I could pass off some of those clients to you. He was like, get in and I'll help you. And I had already considered real estate one time before I really thought about it. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. And so I left McDonald's. I gave him my notice, and I was like, I'm going to pursue real estate. So prior to leaving McDonald's, I had made up my mind about 3 months prior. So I came up with a plan. I said, I'm not going out. I'm not partying. I'm not doing nothing. I'm saving money. So I think I saved probably like $4,000 I had in the bank. My bills had been paid up. For a couple months, for about 2 or 3 months, I had paid my bills up. I didn't have a whole lot of bills. And so I ended up putting my notice at McDonald's, and I left. And I went to real estate school in Columbia on St. Andrews Road. Real Estate School of Success. Damian Burris was my teacher. Amazing, amazing guy. Loved it. I just loved it. And I thought that was my goal. And that's what I was going to do. I was going to sell houses, and I was going to be a millionaire from selling houses and making a lot of money. And that is not what happened. So I kind of got ahead of myself a little bit. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. As a kid, I always liked being in the kitchen. Okay. So Mom ended up giving me a red velvet cake recipe. I was probably I had to be about 10 or 11. And that's probably when I baked my first cake. So I did a lot of baking for Christmas, Thanksgiving, stuff like that. When I worked at McDonald's, when we had Christmas or Thanksgiving dinners at work, I would bake a red velvet cake, bring it to work. And so in the process of me still being at McDonald's, I never forget I was baking a cake for Christmas or Thanksgiving, one of them. And Brittany Montsuber saw me in Walmart picking up these items. And she was like, where are you going to bake? You about to bake something. And I was like, a red velvet cake. And so she was like, make me one. And I was like, you want one for real? I'll make you one. And so she was like, yeah, how much you going to charge me? I was like, $25. And so I baked her a cake, and she posted it on Facebook.
This your first time somebody?
That was my first time ever baking a cake for anybody. So Brittany Montsuber, thank you.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to Brittany. That was the first person I ever baked a cake for and was actually paid for the cake. Yes. And so she posted it on Facebook and talking about how good it was and how moist it was, and people went crazy, and everybody was inboxing me like, can you bake me a cake? Can you bake me a cake? So my thing was red velvet cakes. Even then, I still never planned on opening up a bakery or it going that far. My goal was real estate school. The little cakes and stuff I was baking, little red velvet cupcakes, that was just some extra cash while I was out of McDonald's. So
I got a question. Did you ever graduate the real estate school?
Real estate school, I did. So went to real estate school.
Another tool in the box.
Went to real estate school. And in the process of me going there, y'all, I started baking and taking sweets to class. And the instructor, I never forget, Damien said, why are you here? And I kind of laughed, and we chuckled, and the class kind of laughed. And he said, no. He said, I'm dead serious. He said, why are you here? He said, you in the wrong room. And it's crazy because it kind of sent chills down my spine, but I'm like, you know, I want to sell houses. That's why I'm here. Long story short, I finished real estate school. I graduated. Once you finish real estate school, they require you to take a test to exit the school, and you have to make at least an 80. So I ended up passing both tests to stay in the national level, which sent me to take the big test that actually license you. But I got so caught up in baking, I never even went and took the national test, and you have 1 year to take it.
Okay.
And so within that year, I didn't take it. I was baking like crazy, so I kind of wasted money going to real estate school a little bit. But I feel like God used real estate to pull me out of McDonald's. I believe God knew that baking alone I wouldn't leave. So he said, well, I'll put something else out there to get you out, and then I'll place you where I need you to be.
It was like a bait.
And yeah, it was bait, and he baited me well, and I thank the Lord for it every day. So, yep, never sold a house ever, but real estate school is the main reason why I left McDonald's, and I ended up becoming a baker. And what really carried me, because I mean, yeah, we're sitting in a store now, but the store just came to fruition. This was 4 years in the making.
Oh, was it August the 28th?
4 years in the making. So my grand opening was June 3rd.
June 3rd.
June 3rd is when we did the grand opening. And then we opened, probably did soft selling about a month before that. So the physical brick and mortar location been open since about May 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, about May 1st. But Sweet Victory was born and came to life when I actually filed a LLC and got the business license. Was around March of 2019 is when the baby was born.
So can you tell me about I'm glad you already told us how somebody first person to buy your cake. Because of course I seen you at the flea market. You told about the flea market. Tell me about kind of like the grind, the journey to get up there. Because you ain't just.
Oh yeah, this definitely was a grind. So, you know, I thank God for a support system and a supporting family. My mom and daddy definitely stood behind me 110%. Even willing to make changes to their home to accommodate me. So I was still living with my parents, and was fetching this baking idea, and I was trying to get mom to quit work, and mom's like, I ain't quitting my job, you all over the place, you'll be in Atlanta next month, I ain't quitting my job, fooling with you. And so either way, I started out from home in the kitchen, one single oven. I could only bake 24 cupcakes at one time, and only a 3-layer cake at one time. So I only bake a cake at a time, and it started picking up. So I was like, okay, I need another oven. So one day I came home from McDonald's. My mom and dad had went to North Carolina from someplace and bought a double stack oven. Took out their oven out the kitchen and put in a double stack. So we went from having no stove top, we couldn't even really cook like that, and we put a double stack in. And so I was able to do more. And so my sister started selling product for me at Samsung. I had a cousin, Steph Cannon, she was selling product for me at Kraft. And then later Shamik, my cousin Shamik, she ended up starting selling product for me at Kraft. So I had these people selling product for me. I started doing the flea markets, little bit by little bit, and it was crazy because I was doing a lot out of the house, and mom was like, oh, this is taking over the house, you know, you need to get a building, We were talking about overhead and just all the bills that come along with a building, and I'm just like, we're not there yet, you know, we're making money, but I'm not making enough money to be able to really afford a building. But we were still building that base, we were growing the business. And so I don't know, it got to a point at my mom's house where we just really had bakery stuff just all over the place. She even went and got a she shed, put it in the backyard for us to start storing boxes and pans and all kind of stuff. And it was just becoming overwhelming. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna move out. I'm gonna give y'all your house back. I'm gonna go rent a house, and I'll turn it into what I want to turn it into. So my sister's landlord ended up having a house available. And it took me about 3 months to get in. It was so discouraging because I was trying to get this house. And the man was like, oh, it'll be ready in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks I checked back. And he's like, oh, it'll be ready in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks I checked back. He's like, oh, it'll be ready next month. And 1 month turned into 2, 2 months turned into 3. And I'm like, oh, this ain't gonna work. Yeah. And it was just so discouraging. And then finally it came through. I got the house. And it was a 2-bedroom house. I turned 1 bedroom into like storage. I had refrigerators in it, freezer in it, storage racks in it. It was crazy. And we pumped out of that house. So that house already had an oven in it. And then I brought my double stack. And so I went from being able to cook only 1 cake at a time and 24 cupcakes. Now I can cook 72 cupcakes at one time, but I can do 3 cakes at one time. And so now we're building. And so I'm selling from the house. I'm making posts on Facebook. Facebook was definitely my best friend. Social media, using it to my advantage. And that's why I always tell people too, you know, you got to be real careful about what you post on Facebook. Sometimes I want to post crazy stuff on Facebook.
Yeah,
Sometimes I want to cuss people out
I
on
understand.
Facebook. Sometimes I just want to just go in, but then
you
I
are
realize
in business now.
the standard, and I realize that I am my brand.
Yeah.
You know, I am Sweet Victory, and Sweet Victory is a reflection of me as I'm a reflection of it.
Yeah.
And until we learn that, you know, we have to move, you know, different if we want different, you know. So your emotion is going to speak about your character and who you are and the character of your business. So, you know, I'm just careful about what I post on Facebook and all the craziness. So I try to stay away from that. But either way, I use Facebook as a good tool to build my business and to reach a lot of people. And so beyond just baking, grinding out, the flea market, Columbia, US Metro #1, I love y'all. Columbia really gave me the boost and the confidence that I really needed, because now I'm going outside of the people that know me. You know, Newberry, everybody know me. My dad's a pastor. My sister was a basketball star. I ran McDonald's. Everybody know Big. I had a lot of support from people in Newberry. And now it's time to go beyond Newberry to see, is it, you know, am I going to get that same support from people that I don't know?
Hey, the strangers gonna make it.
Oh man, let me tell you.
What?
Going to the flea market was probably one of the best things I ever did. So I went from, you know, oh, I forgot about Cricket Wireless, and I don't know how I forgot about that. Even before I started the flea market, Cricket Wireless, shout out to Brian. Cricket Wireless gave me my first platform to sell in Newberry. Even before I started selling from my house, I sold out of Cricket Wireless. When I worked at McDonald's, me and Brian built a relationship, and he kept telling me, I want to do a food truck. And Brian kept saying, well, whatever you do, when you do it, let me know, and I'll let you set up right in front of Cricket, right here on Wilson Road. Crazy, right? So I set up inside of Cricket Wireless for 2 years when I first started this. 2 years. They charged me nothing, not a dime. Not a dime. I set up inside their store every Friday for 2 years. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you. And Miss Lucinda. They were amazing. And so that gave me that boost and that confidence too to go farther. And that's when I started doing the flea market in Columbia. I did that for about 3 years, and I was down there, free samples on Saturdays and Sundays, grinding out. And I mean, we were booming. We went from doing, when I first started the flea market, I remember doing like $300 my first time, and I had all this product, and I was out there from 7 a.m. to like 3, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. You know, it was okay, but for all that I had did, it just wasn't a lot. It wasn't what I expected, but it was crazy that over time, how we built that base. And I remember doing a record day, and we did like $1,300 one day at the flea market, and I set up 2 days a week. So
Look what you were making in a week at McDonald's.
yeah, 1,400, and I made it in a day.
Ooh.
A day at the market, almost. Yeah, so between the flea market really boosted me and really giving me that push, my sister selling at Samsung, my cousin selling for me at Crab, it was like, okay, we might be ready for a store now, especially after the 2 years, 3 years at the flea market. It was like, okay, I think we're ready. I think I have enough momentum now where, you know, we can make enough to make the ends meet. And so the flea market put me in a position to make enough to leave McDonald's, which even that's what got me to the point where I would be like, you know, I'm gonna get my notice. I'm gonna go pursue the real estate thing, which I knew that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. But either way, the flea market boomed. We started looking at buildings, and rent was crazy. The overhead was insane. So I started out on Wilson Road, because everybody tell you want to be on Main Street, right? You want to be on Main Street, or you want to be out on Wilson Road with all the traffic, which is very, very true. But you're going to pay to be out there. So them numbers was crazy. And I'm like, dang, how many cakes I got to bake? How many cakes I got to sell? And I'm like, okay. So it started getting discouraging, because guess what? Those buildings weren't kitchen ready. They didn't have ovens in them. They didn't have, you know, walk-in freezer, none of that stuff. So I got to pay for construction and all of this. And oh God, it was crazy. And so I had a friend, Willie, AKA Nook. He was like, hey, you need to check out that building over on 121. The meat market is moving out of that building. And so I was like, okay, you know. But I didn't really dig into it. And so then my homeboy Slick was like, hey, bro, you need to look at that building on 121. The meat market supposed to be moving out of there. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to check it out. Still never checked it out. So I was in Walmart, pushing my buggy around, getting some stuff. and it was actually one of Slick's aunts. She stopped me. And she said, Victor, you ain't found you a building? And I said, no, ma'am. She said, oh, I can really see you in that building on 121. I said, you know what?
Well,
This is a sign from
God.
Let me go check this building out. So I ended up going to Hillside because they had already moved, and I was trying to find the owner of Hillside. They were unavailable. But I had a guy who said, well, I know who owns that building. I'll give you their number. So he gave me the number, and I called and talked to Mr. Taylor, and I said, hey, Mr. Taylor, I said, I'm interested in the building that you have on 121. And Trey ended up telling me, his name was Trey Taylor. He ended up saying, he said, well, Hillside is still in that building. We still have a lease agreement. That building's tied up to the beginning of the year. Mind you, this was probably like November. So I'm trying to get in motion because I'm going to be in this building by January. He's like, Hillside's still in it. If you want to call Hillside, if you want to call and have a talk with Brad, he said the owner's name is Brad. If you want to call and have a talk with Brad, maybe, y'all can work something out. So I'm like, yeah, give me Brad's number. So it was definitely legwork behind it. It wasn't just calling the owner of the building, Trey, and just getting the building. So I ended up having to call the owner of Hillside, and I called Brad, and I said, hey, Brad, I said, I noticed that you guys have moved out of the building on 121. I said, I'm very interested in, maybe getting in that building. I'm a baker. I'm looking for a home for my bakery. The building seemed that it was a good starter building for you. And I think it'll be a good starter building for my company as well. And Brad said, he would think about it. He'd give me a call back, and he did just that. He thought about it. He gave me a call back. We set up a date for me to come over and look at the building. And we came up with an agreement. Actually, this cooler case here was owned by Hillside. They actually sold me that cooler case, walk-in freezer attached. They sold me that walk-in cooler. So it was a blessing because I came into a building that was ready for me and what I needed to do. And so, the old folks always say, wait on the Lord. And when I tell you, I could have moved too fast and I could have spent a lot more money than what I did. And it was definitely a blessing from God to be in this building 4 years later. So I guess it's needless to say, me and Brad worked the deal out.
that almost give you chills. How God really set you with the perfect attitude, and you just
it's crazy.
What you're supposed to do. That's what's up, man.
Yes.
So we know the beginning, we know the middle, we know the current. So tell me, what's the end goal for Sweet Victory?
Oh man, the end goal. I think the best end goal for any business owner is to not have an end goal.
Okay.
You keep reaching.
Speak.
You keep reaching. You set goals, but you don't set an end goal. So you say, hey, this is where I want to be. And then when you get there, you say, hey, this is where I want to be. And then when you get there, you say, hey, this is where I want to be. You keep growing because this building this business is not just dependent on me, or me just dependent on it. Is a lot of people depends on this business. My parents. My dad is out of work now, and so we're hoping to bring him in. My sister, I'm hoping to bring her in further, get her quit her job. I wanted to be a family business. I just brought in a cousin, and so the goal is to grow. And so we have what I would call my manufacturing plant, and so my goal is to open up pop-up shops. I want one maybe in the mall in Columbia, one in Greenville. Atlanta, definitely not out of the question.
That's what I'm about to say. That's what I was really trying to get to with the question. Like, is this something you trying to franchise?
Absolutely.
Just like you want to own a McDonald's.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's crazy you say that because that was my plan. My plan was to be a business owner. Yeah. And it was owning McDonald's. Little did I know, God said, no, you ain't gonna own McDonald's, you're gonna own your own. Yeah, so when they talk about having a seat at the table and building your own, well, it's crazy. It's crazy. Wow. It's crazy. So yeah, the goal for Sweet Victory is to grow. It's to expand beyond the walls of South Carolina or even Newberry, but to grow and to be in multiple cities. yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to the growth and the expansion. So definitely, this is only the beginning. This is definitely
I'm
only the
excited
beginning.
to see because everybody, just not anybody that's on the show, but especially the people that's on the show. Anybody that's on the show, you give me the blessing and give me your time because time costs a lot. Bro, it's a Sunday. You could have been like, bro, I'm chilling, bro. Like,
Yeah.
so anybody that come on the show, I want to see y'all go crazy. I want to get y'all on the show again, and you be like, alright. I have to catch you in 2 months from now because my schedule's so booked up.
Yeah,
You feel me?
yeah.
I want to see everybody up there. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
see everybody in this town up there, like really putting us on the map. I would
Yeah.
love to see it, bro. I'm
Yeah.
going to see it.
Oh yeah.
I see the dog in it. We got the dog in it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And and I try to tell like, everybody else like I didn't come from business. My parents weren't rich. They didn't have a whole lot of money. So don't think that, that was the driving force. It was grind. I started this business with nothing. I opened the store with nothing. When I even went and signed a lease agreement for this building, I didn't have no money in my bank. No money in my bank account. And I kept saying, Mama, I said, how am I gonna do this? I said, I got a building. I said, but how are we gonna get the stuff we need? How are we gonna get tables? How are we gonna get ovens? How are we gonna get just everything? I mean, it was crazy. And she said, watch how God work it out.
You got to walk by faith.
And when I say he worked it out, it took getting stuff little bit by little bit. I had this building for 3 months before I walked in here and did anything. Before I did anything, I sat on it. But I seized that moment, that door opportunity opened, and I seized that moment. But what I was getting at is, I didn't come from a family of business. So my dad didn't own a business. My mom didn't own a business. My granddaddy or grandma didn't own business.
Ain't nobody teach you.
Nobody owned business. I learned business from McDonald's. Saying that to say, you got to take that leap of faith. You got to have that dog in you, like you said, and you got to go get it. And my one of my goals is to maybe one day do a seminar or something on setting up business and the steps,
see it.
because it doesn't take as much as we think, but when you don't know, it seems like it's a lot. It seems overwhelming because you don't know where to start. You don't know what do you do first. What's important, an LLC or getting a business license, or it's both, or just payroll companies and insurance and just your liabilities and
Everything.
just balancing it out. Like I said, learning that labor and food costs from McDonald's, learning that balancing act, because you can't eat up all your cash flow in inventory that might not be moving, and just that it's a delicate balance, and in trying to help people get there and understand it's all attainable. It's all attainable, and it's not hard as it seems. You just gotta want it, and you gotta have a base for what you're doing. If people like what you have, and if you like what you do, you're gonna boom. If what you do makes you happy, it's gonna make room for you. And I've always told that God will make room for you and your gift, whatever it is. So people be looking at the money, they want to make a whole lot of money. Everybody want to make a whole lot of money. Do what you love and you're going to make money. The money will come. Don't think you're just going to jump out there and be a millionaire. That's not going to happen. That's a fairy tale. That's a fairy tale from hell. It's not going to happen. But grind and consistency. Consistency is the number one key. I can sell cakes all day, but if they dry one day and moist the next, and dry one day and moist the next, people are not gonna come by. So you gotta be consistent with whatever you're doing. And just tap into it. Tap into that gift. I really didn't even know that this would be my God-given gift, and it is. And every day I just try to dig deeper into it, and how just seeing people happy when they come pick up cakes, and they say, "Oh, it's so pretty." Oh, and they message me and say, "Oh, everybody loved the cake. Everybody wanted to know who made it and where it come from." It feels good. But just as well as we take the applause, we have to take the criticism.
Yep.
Because there have been times where I got not so good phone calls where customers or clients were like, I didn't enjoy the cake, or it was funded on it. I didn't like that. We didn't discuss that. And so you learn from those things, and so learn from your mistakes, because if you don't learn from them, you're going to repeat them. And so in those customers that do come to you and be 100 about, something that might not have been so well, take it in stride and build from it. And that's what I do. I don't take it as an insult. Does it hurt my feelings? Yes. but take that energy and put it into making it better.
I feel like, I'm not gonna say everybody, but I would imagine majority of the people that come to you and telling you like, hey yo bro, I ain't like this, I ain't like that. I think that's that what it say, constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah, I think they really just let you know this, like, cause we like hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like not everybody want to see you fall. Of course, some people don't, but I feel like a lot of people want to see you at the top. So I feel like they were like, hey bro, if you gonna make it to the top, you need this to be this. You ain't gotta take all those tills, but take one or two.
Exactly. And I remember I ended up telling one lady, I was like, thank you so much. I said, I appreciate that so much. And I ended up figuring out what the issue was. I had my oven turned up too high. And that's since I've been here in this store, past 3 months. And the lady told me, she said, I've been shopping with you for 4 years. She said, you have the best cake I ever had. She said, it's always moist. And when I say always, I mean always. She said, but it wasn't Friday when I came. And so that prompted me to like going crazy. I'm checking cakes and I'm like, oh my God, some of these cakes ain't right. They are dry. I'm sampling product and I'm like, what's going on? And we in the kitchen going crazy. And I start playing with ovens and realized that, the temperature was off and it was drying the cake out. And, but like I ended up telling the lady, I said, I thank you so much. I appreciate you for being 100 and being able to come forth and, let me know what it was. I said, because how many other people ate that cake and didn't call me and didn't say, hey, there was an issue. I said, and probably went and talked about me to other people. Yeah, they went and told somebody else. Oh, no, that cake ain't what it made out to be.
Somebody told me that thing be moist, man.
Yeah, and so guess what? I told that customer, I said, hey, I'm going to take care of you. You come back, I'm replacing everything y'all got. And they ended up, it was her and a friend, and they probably had like 6 slices a piece. They $7, so that's like $40-something in cake, but I replaced all of it. Guess what? She hit me back, said everything was fine, everything was good. She said, oh, I know you still had, I know it was just a mishap, but going the extra mile to make it right. You know what I'm saying? And I learned that once again from McDonald's, those recovery steps, customer recovery steps, and wowing the customer and making them feel appreciated. When they drive far and near to come to your business to buy your product, you have to show your appreciation for that and not disgruntledness. Because I could have been like, oh, well, I know my cake ain't dry, and I could have been cocky, but where was that going to get me? Wasn't gonna get me nowhere. It was gonna cause me to lose a customer, and it was gonna cause her to tell other people, not to come shop with me.
The other would have still been on 400 when it should have been on 350.
Yep.
I don't know.
Exactly. But yeah, exactly. Issue wouldn't have been fixed. So yeah. But
just listening to you, man, like, of course I already knew you, but getting to sit down right here with you, have this business conversation. I feel like Sweet Victory is in great hands. I feel like even if you were to fall, Lord forbid, you gonna pick it back up. Like I feel like you got that dog in you. You ain't gonna let this go. You believe in yourself. Absolutely. And just like you said, I got the family on my back. So that's how I know you. Like, I got this.
Oh yeah.
Even if they don't think I got this, I got this.
Yeah. Even if Keena have to go back to selling cakes at Samsung, I know she glad to not have to do it. She did it for 3 years. Like, she gave up her Thursday, Friday breaks at Samsung to sell cake for 3 years for her brother. That's love.
I ain't even know that was you. Because I worked at Samsung about 2 years, or like 7 years. I used to see, I'd be like, who cakes is these? I ain't never know, you know how black folk is.
Yeah.
And me, ain't not know.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't really know who cakes them is. So but I was like, oh, okay, it's all making sense. And then you got a business. That's what's up, bro. Like, you really came from the bottom. That's
from the bottom, bro.
I'm glad I got that story on. Like, coming into these, I never expect them to be as special as they turn out. Because, like, this is your story great, bro. And I'm glad we got this on camera. I'm glad people got to see this. And even with the bull that might be out there, but it's like a dry cake or something.
Yeah.
That was just 1 week. His shit was on 400 instead of 350.
Look,
so that cut all the rumors out. Exactly. He just ain't know.
Exactly. And people, when you into your craft, people try to discourage you. Sometimes I had people say, "Oh, yeah, they're making box cakes. Them box cakes." I'm like, where y'all see me in the grocery store buying box? Y'all see me in the store buying white lily flour? Saying all that to say to people who out there going out there and trying to go get it, you got to be able to look past once again, the criticism, you got to be able to look past the negativity and look at the positivity. Look at the people that are supporting you. Look at the people who do come through and they show up. And that's what you focus on.
Yeah, I was just telling myself that today. I was kind of thinking like, are people gonna really like me? And when they get to see me on the Go Talk TV, I was like, man, at the end of the day, man, they talk about Jesus.
Right.
They gonna talk about you.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, you know that, you're right.
Right.
You can't be worried about people talking about you.
Can't be worried about people.
They gonna do that.
Yeah,
anyway.
that criticism gonna come, and as you elevate, it gets worse.
Yep.
It gets worse. Think about a celebrity and all the scrutiny that they're under. You know, anybody of a high status, in a sense, owners or just people who they're gonna be under high scrutiny. You're gonna be under a lot of scrutiny, and you have to expect and just deal with it and take it in stride. Take it in stride.
I say you better not burp and not say excuse me. Then they're gonna try to cancel you. Oh, he doesn't have any home training.
No home training. Yeah, they'll try to put you in a category, but you got to be determined. You know, be who you are and be yourself. And you know, that was a learning experience for me to just being myself, no matter who I'm around. Not shrinking when you go in rooms around certain people. Stand tall. You know, that's my advice to everybody. Stand tall.
So before we get out of here, I don't want to hold you here too long. But before we get out of here, let the people know what's your favorite cake, what's your favorite flavor cake, or what's one you gonna recommend. Like somebody coming to what's something you like, you gotta get this. This is a go-to, and then tell the people where they can get your contact, where they can come see the beautiful building and get the sweet video experience.
Bet. So I definitely have to say the red velvet because that's what started the business. That's the foundation. You got to get red velvet, whether it's red velvet cake slice, whether it's red velvet cheese. Can we grab one of these things? Let's show what's going on out here. Let's show what's going on out here. Let's show what's going on. That's red, baby. Yeah. So red velvet cheesecake. Y'all, ain't nobody eating that.
Cheesecake?
Yeah, that's red velvet cheesecake right there. I'm taking that one home.
Red velvet cheesecake?
Yeah, middle layer cheesecake. We even got the banana pudding. Yo, we even do banana puddings, no bananas. You know, so.
He said red velvet cheesecake.
Red velvet cheesecake. This is my signature right here. This them butter pecan joints. I was laying in bed one night and I was like, I gotta create something. What am I gonna create?
Not just cheesecake.
Yeah.
Not red velvet cake.
Yeah. Since I opened that one up, that was yours. That's
I
on you
got
right
me
there.
some red velvet cheesecake.
Red velvet cheesecake. We out here.
You ain't never had none of those. Stop it.
Yeah. So my recommendation would definitely be red velvet. But other than red velvet, I would say pineapple cake. And I do it the old-fashioned way. I take them pineapples, I cook them on the stove top, add a little butter, sugar, vanilla, add my thickening, and I thicken them up, let it cool. But pineapple cake is definitely slapping. So, yep, top two. Number three, if I had a top three, would be pound cake. Pound cake would be the third option. Pound cake don't last here. Sweet potato pie is either. Yeah, it's so much. I don't know. I'm getting lost. I'm lost. Just come taste something. The Bible say, "Oh, taste and see." Look, my logo ain't in here. It's outside on the wall. But that's my slogan. Oh, taste and see. But hey, 757 Kendall Road, Newberry, South Carolina. We're open Wednesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. That's 757 Kendall Road, Kendall Road in Newberry, South Carolina, 29108. Telephone number 803-271-6391. So, yeah, when y'all got free time, definitely come and see me.
Man, check it out, bro. Like I said, I'm just gonna find out about it not too long ago. I found out about it. I was like, I gotta come down here. I gotta try it out. First thing I heard about was chicken salad. And I love me some chicken salad. So I was like, I can go cook with dessert. It gotta be after I eat, be in the mood for it.
Yeah.
So I was like, chicken salad, I can just go up there and get the chicken salad.
Can munch on that. Yeah. And so, you know, and that's the thing I do too. I outsource, you know, and I try to help other small businesses grow as well. So like the chicken salad that's outsourced. So I get that from Andrina Cromer. She has a business called In Your Dreams Catering.
Okay, shout out to her.
So it's a limited liability company. It's a LLC. And so she makes the chicken salad for me. I have a lady named Tasha. She owns a bakery supply store in Prosperity here in Newberry County. She makes my honey butter yeast rolls. She makes my cinnamon rolls for me. So I definitely go out and venture out and get you know, bring other businesses in and their products.
That's
And,
what's up,
you
bro.
know, anybody else who might have a product that I don't make or sell that I can bring in, I'm definitely willing to put it on the shelves if we could.
That's what's up,
Yeah,
bro.
definitely got to be a regulated item, but we definitely can make it happen. Absolutely, because I'm thinking about actually bringing May's Lemonade. I don't know if you ever heard of May's Lemonade. She used to be set up at the flea market too, sell all the different flavor lemonades, and so she can jug it up for me. So I'm thinking about maybe carrying her lemonade in here. So
And did you hear him? He said regulated. So don't come in here with your grandma's famous chitlins. You don't want none of that in there.
look, right? I can't do that. I can't do the hot food just yet. I ain't set up for that. I ain't got the hoods and equipment for that.
Come
But
in here
yeah,
with chitlins.
but definitely looking to help people out and help other people grow. You know.
Did you give him your social medias?
Yeah, so Baker Boy Instagram. My Instagram is Baker Boy. That's 2 K's, 2 Y's. So that's BAKKERBOYY. You can also find me on Instagram, Sweet Victory LLC. You can find me on Facebook as Victor Wicker, VICTOR, Wicker, WICKER. You can also find me on Facebook under Sweet Victory as well. So yeah, y'all check me out, look me up, follow me, I'll follow you back. You know,
I follow y'all all over here looking at those real village.
he can't wait to get out cam. He ready to smash into that cave.
Well, I was standing down, boy. But I want to appreciate you, man, for giving me your time once again on the show.
Absolutely, I appreciate you. You know, reaching out to me. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I appreciate that because you know you could have reached out to anybody else, but I appreciate every opportunity. You know what I'm saying, to be able to share my story with anybody. So I thank you.
That's what's up. That's what's up, bro. Well, that's another episode, man. You feel me? Doing big things. You're going to see us in more places a lot more soon. I see you and I see you. We out here.
You out of here.